Joining me now is Colin Clarke, who's Director of Policy and Research at the Soufan Group, a consultancy and a specialist on international security and terrorism. Thank you very much indeed for joining us on CGTN. What do you think the first stage of a ground offensive could look like, and what's your best guess as when we might see that?
Yeah, thanks for having me. It could be any day now. It definitely feels imminent with the massing at the border. There's already been reports that the IDF is conducting very kind of sporadic sweeps with small numbers of soldiers. I think at this point, we're looking at what we would call an intelligence preparation of the battlefield. The Israelis are looking to seek intelligence on the hostages, the location of those hostages, and then also try to map out the network of subterranean tunnels that Hamas has constructed over the past several years. That's going to be a key component of urban warfare in this next phase if the Israelis do in fact go forth with a full-on ground invasion.
So you talk about urban warfare. How dangerous is that? You talked about these reinforced tunnels that Hamas uses. Even with its huge advantage in terms of numbers of soldiers, how difficult and dangerous will it be for the Israeli soldiers fighting in Gaza, and how can they plan for that?
It's going to be incredibly dangerous. The Israelis have done it before. If you think back to Operation Cast Lead, 2008, 2009. So they've got a lot of experience fighting in Gaza. But to me, Hamas is a different enemy in 2023. Clearly, their operational capabilities have improved significantly with Iranian assistance, training, equipment. And I think you're going to see a combination of what I would call old school and new school warfare. Old school, it may very well look like block-to-block fighting in Grozny and Chechnya during the 1990s. However, it will have that additional element of drones and other emerging technologies that both sides will bring to bear. So incredibly dangerous phase coming up next. Hamas will rely on asymmetric tactics, including improvised explosive devices, rocket-propelled grenades, snipers, ambushes. And so even for the IDF, which is a world-class military, Hamas will prove to be a formidable foe, especially in this terrain.
And the United Nations has told Israel that it must observe the rules of war. President Biden this week saying that democracies like Israel are stronger and more secure when they act according to the rule of law. Has the IDF been doing so in this offensive on Gaza so far?
Yeah, I think it's still too early to kind of do a battle damage assessment. There's so much mis and disinformation that's leaking out. We've seen stories that have been pulled back and withdrawn and retracted, and so I'm not yet ready to make a comment on how the IDF has performed in terms of civilian casualties and collateral damage. But again, a very, very difficult challenge, even for a nation with Israel, even for a nation like Israel that has, all of the latest and most innovative weapons, precision-guided munitions, and the like. It's just dense urban terrain. They're fighting amidst rubble with human shields. Really, definitely a hornet's nest that they're about to walk into.
All right, well, we'll have to leave it there, but really great to get your insights today. Colin Clarke, Director of Policy and Research at the Soufan Group. Many thanks.
Thanks for having me.